After an alien grandma gave me a strange cookie, her gorgeous granddaughter told me. Jake Miller had been working at the Mars mining station for 6 months when everything changed. The old alien woman appeared at his doorstep one evening when the red planet's twin moons cast strange shadows across the settlement. She was unlike any of the usual Xanthari traders who visited the human colonies. Her skin held a deep purple hue that seemed to shimmer in the artificial lights, and her eyes glowed with an ancient wisdom that made Jake feel small. Despite her alien features, there was something oddly grandmother-like about her gentle smile and the way she carried herself. The woman spoke broken English, but her meaning was clear. She held out a small wrapped package and gestured for Jake to take it. Inside was a single cookie that looked almost normal, except for its slight blue tint and the way it seemed to pulse with its own inner light. Jake wanted to refuse, but something in the old woman's eyes stopped him. She patted his hand gently and whispered words in her native tongue before disappearing into the Martian night as quickly as she had arrived. The next morning, Jake found himself staring at the strange cookie, wondering if he had dreamed the entire encounter. The mining supervisor called an emergency meeting, and Jake slipped the cookie into his pocket without thinking. At the meeting, the supervisor announced that a Xanthari diplomatic ship had landed requesting to speak with the human who had been chosen by their elder council. Jake felt the cookie grow warm in his pocket as dozens of eyes turned to look at him. The diplomatic party arrived within hours, and Jake's breath caught when he saw her. The young Xanthari woman was stunning in a way that transcended species. Her skin held the same purple hue as the older woman, but with a luminescent quality that seemed to make the air around her glow. Her long silver hair flowed like liquid metal, and her violet eyes held depths that Jake found himself getting lost in. She introduced herself as Lyra and explained that she was the granddaughter of the elder who had visited Jake. The cookie was not just a gift but a test, and Jake had passed by accepting it, with respect rather than fear. Lyra spoke perfect English, and her voice had a musical quality that made Jake's heart race. She explained that the Xanthari had been watching humans for decades, studying their courage and adaptability. The cookie contained nanobots that would enhance Jake's natural abilities, but only if he proved worthy through his actions. Jake learned that the Xanthari faced a terrible threat. The Vex Empire, a race of machine beings, was sweeping across the galaxy, consuming entire civilizations. The Xanthari were powerful, but they lacked something the humans possessed: the ability to adapt and overcome. Impossible odds. Lyra's eyes grew sad as she explained that her people had become too comfortable with their advanced technology. They had forgotten how to fight with pure determination and creativity, the way humans did. The Xanthari Council believed that an alliance with humanity might be their only hope. Over the following days, Jake worked closely with Lyra to understand the Xanthari technology and the nature of the Vex threat. He found himself drawn to her not just because of her beauty, but because of her fierce intelligence and the way she looked at problems from angles no one else considered. The cookie's nanobots had indeed changed Jake. His reflexes were faster, his mind clearer, and he could interface with Xanthari technology as if he had been born to it. But more importantly, he found that his human instincts for improvisation and never giving up had become even stronger. When the Vex scouts finally reached the Mars system, Jake was ready. Lyra had taught him to pilot a Xanthari fighter craft, but she had also learned from him about human tactics and the importance of fighting dirty when survival was at stake. The battle was unlike anything Jake had ever imagined. The Vex ships moved like living things, their dark metal hulls seeming to absorb light itself, but Jake's enhanced reflexes combined with his human unpredictability allowed him to dance between their attacks in ways that confused their machine minds. Lyra fought beside him in her own ship, and together they carved through the Vex formation like a blade through silk. The other human miners joined the fight in modified mining ships, turning industrial equipment into weapons with the kind of creative thinking that only desperate humans could manage. When the dust settled, the Vex scouts had been completely destroyed without a single human or Xanthari casualty. The impossible had become reality through the combination of alien technology and human determination. Lyra found Jake after the battle, her eyes shining with something more than just admiration. She told him that her grandmother had been right. Humans were exactly what the Zenthari needed. The old woman had seen something in Jake that even he hadn't known was there. As they stood together looking out at the stars, Jake realized that the strange cookie had given him more than enhanced abilities. It had opened a door to a future he never could have imagined. A future where humans and Zenthari would stand together against the darkness that threatened to consume the galaxy. Lyra took his hand, and her touch sent warmth through his entire body. She smiled, and Jake knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but humanity had found its place among the stars. The old grandmother's wisdom had been proven correct. Sometimes the most important gifts come in the smallest packages, and sometimes the fate of entire civilizations can rest on a single act of courage and acceptance. Jake looked into Lyra's violet eyes and saw not just love, but hope for both their peoples. The cookie had been the beginning, but what came next would be written by their choices and their determination to never surrender.